Russell M. Nelson, the oldest ever president of The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has passed away at the age of 101. His life's journey, from pioneering heart surgeon to spiritual leader, touched millions around the globe. In this video, we look at his legacy, global reaction, and the lessons he leaves behind. When and where was Russell M. Nelson born? Born September 9, 1924, in Salt Lake City, Utah. He was raised in a family that valued education and service. What was Nelson's medical career? He trained at the University of Utah, B.A., M.D., and the University of Minnesota, Ph.D. As a cardiothoracic surgeon, he was part of early research developing the pump oxygenator, heart-lung machine, that made open heart surgery possible. He later taught and led surgical programs at the University of Utah. These accomplishments made him a nationally recognized surgeon before full-time church service. How did his medical background influence his later life? His surgical career contributed to a reputation for precision, discipline, and scientific respectability, traits he often referenced when giving administrative guidance. Medical leadership experience also informed how the church addressed public health and pandemic guidance during his presidency. When did he join the Quorum of the 12 Apostles? He was called to the Quorum of the 12 Apostles in 1984 and served in that body for nearly 34 years before becoming president. What leadership roles did he hold within the church before becoming president? Over decades he served in many capacities, regional assignments, leadership roles in auxiliaries, and eventually as president of the Quorum of the 12. Those roles prepared him for the institutional responsibilities of the first presidency. When did Nelson become president of the church? He became the church's 17th president in January 2018, following the death of President Thomas S. Monson. How is the president of the church chosen? Succession process. By long-standing church protocol, the longest-serving apostle becomes the next president after the death of the current president. After Nelson's death, Dallin H. Oaks, as the next in seniority on the Quorum of the 12, is expected to be set apart as president. How did the church change weekly worship under Nelson? The church consolidated meeting times into a shorter, 2-hour block for many congregations and emphasized a new home and family-centered study curriculum called Come, Follow Me, that aimed to be more globally contextualized. These shifts were framed as modernization measures to better suit a worldwide membership. What about the church's public image and interfaith work? Nelson sought greater interfaith engagement and public outreach. He met with various religious and civic leaders, emphasized common ground on humanitarian issues, and pursued public partnerships, for example, outreach to civil rights organizations and dialogue with other faiths to improve public understanding. How did Nelson approach humanitarian work? He emphasized local humanitarian initiatives, disaster relief, and international charity work as expressions of faith in action. The church continued to fund and deploy humanitarian assistance through established relief arms and local congregational efforts. What was the immediate global reaction to his death? Headlines from major outlets, social media tributes from members and leaders, and church media statements and local memorial gatherings were published within hours. Church congregations and informal vigils appeared in multiple countries to remember his service and message. Were there controversies during Nelson's tenure? Yes. Media and watchdog groups raised concerns about the church's historical handling of sexual abuse reports and practices around youth interviews, prompting public scrutiny and institutional responses. The church also continued to uphold conservative positions on marriage and gender that attracted criticism in some quarters. Reporting on these matters has been part of public discussion and institutional review. How did the church respond to criticism and calls for reform? Answer. Church officials announced procedural updates, calls for improved safeguarding, and information campaigns to address concerns. Conversations around transparency, member care, and external oversight continued among leaders, members, and public commentators. What theological themes did Nelson emphasize? Answer. Emphasis on temple worship, personal revelation, family, and Christ-centered devotion. He often called members to greater spiritual discipline, service, and to use the church's full name to emphasize its Christian identity. What will Nelson be remembered for? Answer. 3 interlocked legacies are likely to be emphasized by historians and members. Medical pioneer, contributions to cardiothoracic surgery. Institutional reformer, organizational changes that emphasized temples, naming, and globalization. Finally, Russell M. Nelson's life was a story of service, innovation, and faith. His influence reached far beyond his church, inspiring millions worldwide. His legacy reminds us to live with compassion, integrity, and dedication to service. What lessons from his life inspire you most? Share your thoughts in the comments.